Okay, we'll do a mostly cold startup. It ran probably 30 seconds before this, but give it a couple of pumps. Touch it, starts right up. So let's go through all the gears next. All right, let's get it through all the gears and test the clutch out here. And the engine to some extent. Engine sounds pretty good. The compression, I just did compression one time when it was cold. It's like 119 to 135, which isn't bad. Oops. Let's get into third gear. I need to get the timing advanced just a tad. There's third and fourth. So it gets into, I tested reverse earlier. So it gets into all the gears, that's good. Drives straight down the road, so that damage up front, at least it's not making the car pull. So we got that part tested. Let's get through the gears. First, second, third. Odometer, or the speedometer, is working. I've got about 1.5 gallons of gas, so it looks like there's a new sending unit down there, so it looks like the gauges are working. Let's get into fourth, and there's fourth. So it's getting into all of the gears nicely. The clutch feels good. I don't know how much is left on the clutch disc, but it's not shuddering and feels nice. Engine is pulling for it's a 102 horsepower engine, so it's which is an early model engine. It's not the 110 horsepower that came in it originally. If you wanted one, I have a good 110 horsepower to stick in there. Yeah, it drives really nice. This is the first time I've driven it. That's why I'm reacting to it. It drives nice, gets into all the gears, it has good power, and the clutch is smooth. Let me see if I can downshift into second. See, I was just able to downshift into second. That's actually kind of rare in Corvair. Not rare, but that's a good thing when a Corvair transmission downshifts into second, because usually the second is the most worn gear. The synchro, maybe the gears are worn. I'm not sure exactly. I think it's a synchro, and this one is getting in. This is a good gearbox, I guess is my point. It's a nice little driver, I think. We're in third gear now. Said it's not, my hand's off the wheel right now. It's driving straight down the road, so it feels good. Horn's not working. It's okay. I haven't tested the lights yet. Yeah, the engine sounds good as well. The exhaust, it sounds like there's any holes in the exhaust. It just has a nice sound to it for a Corvair. And let's touch the brakes and see. Go about 35 here, and we'll brake, and no, they feel good. I haven't taken a wheel off to look at them, but I saw a master brake cylinder, an old one, in the floorboard here as an old part, so I have to look in the trunk and see if they put a new master brake cylinder on there, which probably, you know, I'll pull one of the wheels off and look at the brakes. Pushing it just a little bit. Really is a nice car. Start with the problem side right there. That's the damage that needs to be corrected. I think a good body guy, probably without having to cut panels off, probably take care of that. It's a little beyond my ability. I could probably do it, but it would take me too long. Sounds good. I love the way it drives. Old paint shined up decently, 20-footer. I think the hood is good. I think it's sitting up like that. I think what it is that front end collision here pushed it up a little bit. So when they pull, and the body guy pulls that out, I think he's gonna have to pull the position, get the position right so the hood's it. But I don't see any damage on the hood itself, so you don't have to get a new hood. It looks straight and good. take a look under the hood, or the back deck, I should say. Like we're missing a V and an A. You can get those. This is a, I just painted the air cleaner just to show you that engine, the whole engine could look that way. This is a, it's been upgraded. It has an upgraded alternator, which is good. The guy before me, I guess, had put on a fuel pump. I would mount that fuel pump up front and then put the solid lines up here. You don't really want soft fuel lines in the engine compartment, just from a safety standpoint. But yeah, runs really nice. And like I said, the compression was, first time I did it, I've only done it once, was 119 to 135, which is not bad. It's a midlife engine, and most importantly, it runs nice. You can see the opportunities for body work on this. And then again, you could just drive it, fix that front and drive it. The windshield is really nice condition, I think. Oh, it looks like this rubber's been replaced. That could even be a new, oh no, maybe it hasn't. You see some cracks here. But the windshield's a nice, very light scratches here, but it's got the tinted window. It doesn't have any chips in it that I see. All the Corvair letters are up there. That's the 64 Corvair letters. I think those wheel covers are actually 65, 66 wheel covers, but they still look good. They're Corvair, so at some point it's easy to get the correct ones if you want. I've got a really nice set of 3-spinner wire wheel covers, Corvair wheel covers, and I'm selling. Got the correct, that's the correct 64 grill down there. This is all correct 64 back, so that's all there. That air cleaner system is 62, 63. I kind of like it better. 64 goes up a bit, and then you see down below that it has the 64 gearbox. Oh, I'm sorry, differential and transverse leaf spring in the back. That's a 64 thing. Seats, yeah, seats need to be done, obviously. It's got a nice big hole in the bottom, but you have seat covers from Clark's put on there. The door panels aren't bad. Those will clean up nice. They're not original. Someone has recovered them at some point, but they'll clean up nice. You know, if you just want a nice driver. It looks like they've got some speakers they've cut in there. Carpet's not terrible. It's serviceable. Dash is not terrible, actually. It's got some cracking up there, but it's kind of commensurate with other parts of the car. Tires are good tires. I don't see any cracking on them. I looked at them. I don't know how old they are, but they're not cracking. The sidewalls aren't cracking, so you could drive on those. I wouldn't feel it, but they have plenty of tread. It's like, yeah, they have a lot of tread. I mean, who knows? Maybe they're 15 years old, but like I said, I didn't see any cracking, so it's good. I haven't tested any electrical, the lights or anything. Horn doesn't work. I said that before. Got all the 64, correct 64 interior there. That design there, that kind of vertical design, is a 64 interior. And yeah, 64 is the best of the late. It's the last year of the early models, and it had kind of like a 67 Volkswagen. It kind of had all the upgrades on it before it went to the late model. There's a tour in good light, and we'll put it up on the lift next and see the extent of what could be done. I think the bodywork, you don't have to do anything. You could drive it just like it is with the rust and everything. That's the part I think you'd have to take care of. But the rest you could live with if you wanted to. You know, you see there's definitely a lot of Bondo on this car. I don't think this would ever be a show car. You'd have to put a lot. There's Bondo under here. You know, you've got some rust in there. The doors shut pretty well. That one shuts well. you put it on the lift, it doesn't flex too much. So although there's some rust through down on the rockers, saying there's some rust through on the rockers that we'll see when we put up on the lift, but it looks like they're mostly intact because I didn't see it flexing very much when it was up on the lift. Like I said, I think this body is recoverable. Okay, let's take a look at the top. Let's put it this way, the top will probably keep the water off of you if it ever did rain. You know, that things like this where they didn't put the thing up correctly. I mean, this top's probably 20 years old, seen a lot of sun. But other than that, a little crack there. It might keep the cold and rain off of you. But this is for driving with the top down, so. Rag top, yes. This is almost a rag top. Come around a little more. You can just see through the window. It's pretty discolored. I've seen much better. All right, so let's take a look underneath the car, see what you'd have to deal with if you bought it. So it's nice and hot right now. It's fully hot. I just drove it for 20 minutes. So we will see what the leak condition of the engine is. It might be pretty good because the engine really felt nice. So someone might have put some time into it. But you see it's a 64, so you got the transverse leaf spring, which means you got the 64 differential. That 4-speed gearbox, which is good, could be 62, 63, 64, you know, they're all the same. This is a 62 or 63 FC forward control engine. If you look in there, it's got the plug on the extra oil. Okay, no heater ducts. That starter looks fairly recently rebuilt. It's nice and shiny. Looks like I didn't take the brake, but we got new brake hoses on here on the back. Let's look at the front. No, not new brake hoses on the front, but you have it on the back. So we can look and see what the brake situation is. Got a new sending unit. That's a good thing. That costs money. It probably means that they, you know, at least drain the tank. So looking underneath, about the same. You've got some Fred Flintstone body rod on the bottom. Not terrible, actually. Not terrible. Seen much worse, let's put it that way. You got rocker panel body rot there. Body rot there. I think it's recoverable. Looks pretty good back here. So back here looks pretty good. This is the anti-sway bar, I think is what it's called. That's a 64 thing as well. Improves the handling. So let's take a harder look at the damage in the corner. So from down below. So this is the bottom of the trunk. That's damaged. It got hit and pushed in this way. This piece here is bent. Looks like someone maybe bent it back. I'm not a sophisticated body guy, but I think a good body guy could probably straighten it. It did seem to drive straight down the road. I don't know how long these tires have been on here, but I don't see any unusual wear patterns on there. So you could go to California Corvair, and a good body guy he can sell you any section of the car you want. I talked to him, Jeff Williams, and you could cut off this area, and for $400 he'd sell you like the front of the car basically. And I guess a good body guy could weld the front of the car on. I probably wouldn't do that. I'd probably just straighten this up the best it could be. Like I said, I think a good guy could probably pull it out and straighten it. That's your worst hole on the bottom. Like I said, I've seen much worse. Not too bad on this side. Kind of what you expect from looking at the rest of the car. Again, you got some of that rocker panel rot right there. A little bit out there. Shocks look old. Muffler sounded good. Probably was replaced 10, 15 years ago. And let's look at the leak situation. So I guess we've been up here about 10 minutes. It's fully hot. And after 10 minutes, I don't see any leaking, leaking on the ground at all. Let's look. I see a little bit of oil forming there. It hasn't dripped to the ground, but it's forming. This looks good. This would be the front crankshaft seal, and I don't see anything leaking there. The gearbox looks pretty tight, small. This is pretty common. The shift shaft right there leaks out of that seal right there. Hasn't dropped to the ground yet. Maybe there is. No, well, maybe that might be one drop. Don't see any leaks over here. That's pretty dry. The seal is, the oil pan seal is pretty flexible. It's cork, so that's been done at some point. Like I said, I don't really know the history on this car, other than what I can see. So that's a tour of underneath. This is the 64 shroud there. This bumper, the chrome's pretty good on this bumper. It's bent a little bit right here. That probably could be straightened. If not, you can buy a new re-chrome bumper from Cal. This might have been re-chromed actually, I think at some point. That's why the chrome's so good on it. So there's a tour of the underside of the car. Just show you I was saying earlier when I was outside that I don't see any cracking on these tires, and the tread. They're almost new tires. I don't know how old they are, but from a wear standpoint, they're all pretty much new. I don't think there's 1,000 miles on any of these tires here. All of them look really good. I think these tires would be fine. Not a crack anywhere. Alright. So I opened up the front trunk. First thing I saw was the box for the new sending unit. So that's good. That's 85 bucks. Let's look at the front trunk. Looking here in the trunk, see probably if you're the body guy where you pound this back down into position, including the hood latch support. You see the as I said before. So I found in the front floorboard there was original master cylinder, and you look at this one. This is replaced probably a few years ago. It looks like maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years ago. Makes sense with what we saw below, and the brakes seem to work fine. So it's really not any rust in here. A little surface rust, but no rust through here in the trunk. Again, this would be the area that would be inside of there that would get pounded out. Or perhaps cut, someone might choose to cut this off and go to California Corvair and just weld a new section on. Like I said, I think somewhere between $300 and $400 you sell you the entire front section if you chose to do it that way. We do have the piece, the front grill bar that goes right there when it's repaired, when that damage is repaired, and we also have the headlight bezel and the headlights and the part that goes on there. So that's part of the sale. We run around the car outside, so we'll do it in a little different light. Maybe you'll catch some more the blemishes and the condition of the car. It's shiny, but lots and lots and lots of it. It's old paint. I color sanded it. Probably made it. It could be made a little better. But from 20 feet, it's shiny when it's going down the road. So the top will probably keep it dry. Getting a rainstorm. originally this car was yellow. You can see some of the yellow underneath there, and that's the damage, which maybe you could cut out and replace it with a new panel or section, or maybe you could pull it. You have to ask a good body guy. Windshield's a high spot of this car. Of course, the seats have to be redone. I don't know. Maybe you just leave that one. What do you think? There's a good upholstery guy here in the shop. He'll probably give you a good deal on seats if you had to make the upholstery. Or you can get it from Clark's Corvair. Get the original upholstery, 64 upholstery. I think it's about $800 for the seat covers, and then you probably have like $1,300 in equipment, parts, and materials. Engine runs great. It was upgraded with an alternator. Fans the wrong way, but those work. Corvette fans face a little different, but it's an alternator upgrade just for fun. I sandblasted the 62, 63 air cleaner system. The engine is a 62 or 63 FC Ford Patrol engine, 102 horsepower, but the transaxle, as noted before, is 64. At least the differential is. Probably the gearbox was mated to the differential, and was probably the original gearbox and differential. And I believe, as I said before, I believe this hood is good. It's the front that sits up a little bit, so that'd have to be corrected so that the good hood would shut correctly.